Anne and Wade have carved out a life for themselves from a rugged landscape in northern Idaho, where they're bound together by more than love. With her husband's memory fading, Anne attempts to piece together the truth of what happened to Wade's first wife, Jenny, and to their daughters. In a wild, emotional, and physical landscape, Wade's past becomes the center of Anne's imagination as Anne becomes determined to understand the family she never knew and to take responsibility for them, reassembling their lives and her own. A stunning debut novel about love and forgiveness. This is Emily Ruskovich's Idaho. The loose skin of a bloodhound is meant to hold the ground. The ears that drag along the forest floor send the scent up to the skin, where trapped within the wrinkles and folds, it reminds the hound what the trail is, even when the trail is lost. The smell of the trail becomes the smell of himself, trapped between the wrinkles of the neck and all around the eyes, which require an effort to raise under all that skin. Head down, whatever the dog follows, he follows blind. Gravity heaps the forehead down to the top of the snout, so that the scent between the wrinkles is more of a means of seeing than the eyes the wrinkles cover. The heavy ears, flopping forward at all times, create the walls of the trail, a kind of tunnel and tunnel vision. The tips of the ears stirring up the particles on the ground for the wrinkles to gather and hold. Off duty, head up, the bloodhound is a different dog. The wrinkles fall open, the forehead is smoothed, the scent let go. This is how a dog forgets. This is how a dog moves on. He lifts his head. But there are so many footsteps, people, everywhere. The people are calling out the name of the trail, and he can hear the name even with his ears closed. It is dark. He knows that much at least, though it is dark always under the heaviness of his forehead. He smells the darkness in the men's sharp breaths as they go calling, not for him, but for whatever he is after. The smell inside a glove, the smell that is 1,000 smells of leather, mice and water, fires, hands and feet, and the confusion of other dogs that ran this trail hours before. The heat of rubber tires, engines stopped, clothing, boots, mud that is not from a forest, caked and carried in the traction of the people's shoes from other places, farms, sidewalks, mowed grass, and the fresh deer pellets that get stuck. Too, the smells crushed open, ruptured between the rubber and the ground. He bores this tunnel through the thicket of smells, the bear, a week ago, musk trapped in the mats of his fur, broken open by the trunk he rubbed against, the pine, whose bark a day ago was peeled off by sour teeth smelling of digested grass and fear and even stone, thrown fragments of foam from being startled, rabbits too. He smells the newborn rabbits underground where the afterbirth has dried in the eroded, dirty fur, some just born, some old enough to have returned, wounded, the blood already licked up off the pine needles by coyote tongues, rancid and smelling of starvation. Or other dogs, not on a hunt, but with hay in their fur and the insides of houses, digging half-heartedly with their pungent snouts in piles of scat sweetened and bittered by post-frost elderberries the bears eat to sizzle and slime the tapeworms out of their intestines. And the soil itself, dry, splattered here and there with urine, human and animal, and the stream shaken out of fur or off fingertips, gummed with mud and sweat and something sickly artificial. And at times, the undercurrent of exhaust, trucks, a chainsaw nearly gone now, antlers clashed against one another, a dull, shredded smell, small flies, their crushed brains on human skin and under weeds, men's fear and cortisone, batteries shaken inside the lights they hold, a muted metallic buzz in his nose, tree bark cooling and crystallizing sap like honeycomb itself, Beetles stirred, rubbing, bushes of spoiled flowers, cooling weeds, a cat's breath on claws licked clean. And one man smells harder than the rest. The smell is a kind of staggering, dangerous. Other people on his clothes, and the dog won't go near that man. Though the man is trying hard to follow him closely, his desperation teeming, the smells of his anger and need waterfalling over his shoulders, over his hands, out of his mouth, calling out its sour, hot odors. The man has been inside that glove, the glove that they've held over his snout. The warmth of the glove, the sweat inside, the deer it once was the skin of. Inside that glove is the truck, which smelled like blood, but other things too, carried out on dirty, perfumed hair, on skin lashed open in cuts no thicker than threads, candied breath hot with salt and near vomit, but almost gone, evaporated. The bright zing smell of seeds burst open from pods grazed by a child's fingertips, or else by the leashes, whiskers, snouts of other hounds whose heads so very long ago, hours maybe, have lifted, moved on to other trails.